Hello and welcome to another My SBE Marriage video. A number of years ago I read or watched an interview or something with Nicole Kidman, and she was talking about her relationship with Tom Cruise. At the time it was kind of new for them, and Nicole was saying that they would write each other notes, leave little love notes for each other, and the other would find. And that was one of the things that they did to sort of, make the relationship a little bit magic. And I remember hearing about that and thinking, that's so cool, that's so sweet. And so I tried that with my partner. We would get like a little sticky note and a pen, and we leave them in places. And whenever we feel like writing something to each other, we just scribble on the note, sticky it to some spot and let the other find it. And it's really sweet. We write, cute things to each other and stuff like this. My husband's written some, cute little notes and such. The only drama is he won't write me a note unless I've written him one first. So I might write him a note before he goes to work, and then I'll wake up and he's left me a note. Or just randomly during the week or whatever, I'll just write a note and stick it somewhere, and then he'll write me one in return. So it's cute, and he writes sweet things, but it tends to be that he doesn't instigate the notes themselves. He will only write one if I've written one first. And we did have a bit of a drama a couple of years back. We'd been writing notes to each other, and we'd had them sort of all stuck in a little spot, his notes and my notes. And we had a bit of a disagreement about something. I don't remember what. And one day I go there and all of his notes are gone. And I said to him, how come the notes are gone? Like, where did they go? And he kind of looks at me and grins a little bit and says, is that upsetting you? And I thought, I don't know, do I say yes? Kind of looks like he wants me to say yes so he'll feel good. And I said, where did they go? And he said, I threw them out. Okay. Why did you throw them out? And he said, because we had that argument and I was annoyed, and so I gathered them all up and biffed them off. And then again he asked, did that annoy you? And I said, yeah, it was a little bit disappointing. And he said, okay then, and that was it. And so now he sticks the notes inside a cabinet, and we just kind of leave them there. But eventually we did stop the notes, because if I don't do the notes, he doesn't do them himself. And it's interesting because Mark Hutton recently made a video about how their neurotypical partners always feel like they're the ones doing all the work. And he was saying that the only way to not feel that way is to not do the work. And then eventually maybe your neurodiverse partner may pick up the slack, or they may not. It might be a situation where that thing just doesn't happen. And that's definitely how it works in our relationship. If I don't write the notes to him first, he doesn't then reciprocate and write those notes. It's the same with, say, me creating a fun, spontaneous sex game as part of foreplay. If I don't instigate that, he doesn't instigate that. It's not a situation where he'll think, well, we played that game last time and that was really fun, I'll instigate that for the next time. There is a lot of me doing the instigating and coming up with the ideas and trying to get creative about different ways to connect and things like this. And if I don't do them, it doesn't happen. He doesn't kind of pick up that slack. And so if it's the same for you in your relationship, leave a comment below. Love to hear from you. And with regards to that, I did kind of back off, as I mentioned in our Counsellor Deb video. I went quiet and distant and withdrew because I got to a point where I was really exhausted. I was finding the relationship quite combative, and I just kind of got fatigued and thought, I can't do this anymore. I'm just so mentally washed out and tired, and it's not really netting me the things that I want it to net. And so I just got a little bit, can't do it anymore. And I started to notice since then, and that was about 4 years ago, I started to notice that he started doing a little bit of complimenting and instigating hugs and kisses and a little bit of flirting and even instigating some communication because I'd started to back right off. So in that sense, when I dropped that ball, he did pick up some slack. So he does pick up some slack in some ways, but he didn't pick up the slack with the notes or say games, sex games, foreplay, things like this. So he'll pick up the slack in certain ways and not necessarily in others. So it is nicer that he's now doing some complimenting in things. And I kind of wonder if I'd have stopped really early on, would that have made a difference? However, I did stop maybe 2.5 years into me living with him. I moved out of his bedroom into the spare room and I backed off and started treating him like a housemate the way that he was treating me like a housemate. And we didn't get better. He didn't pick up the slack then. He was just really aggro that I wasn't being warm and affectionate and sitting with him to watch TV or sleeping with him in the same bed, which meant that we weren't having sex because the only time we have sex is when we're in bed together, as in the only time he'll instigate is when we're in bed together. And so because I'm not in the same bed as him, that wasn't happening. And that seemed to be the thing that was really pissing him off the most. And on that note, it's really interesting too that over the last year or so, I have started to give up on my sex life. I started to get to a point where it's just not going my way, my needs aren't being met, I'm not actually having a whole lot of fun or enjoyment out of it. And that's when he started doing more complimenting and flirting and things, because he's now trying, God bless him, he's now trying to be more warm and affectionate and intimate outside of the bedroom and things like that, in hopes that that will come back. So it's a curious thing. I'm getting away from the notes, but it's a curious thing in that sex seems to be a real drive for him. If you remove the sex, he seems to be really bothered by that. It seems to be the one thing that he just can't stand not having, which is super ironic because during the day he doesn't care about it. He doesn't say anything about it or do anything about it or even act like he gives a shit about it. And yet it really seems to bother him if I take that out of the equation within the relationship. Like, I could probably stop talking to him and he might not even notice. But I suppose sex is obvious when you're not having it. It's far more obvious than perhaps not communicating, especially for an Aspie who's not really a talker anyway. So the point I'm getting at is that he will pick up the slack in certain ways for certain reasons, but in other ways, such as the notes, he didn't then pick up the slack. So if I never write him a note, he will never write me a note. And it's not as though I write some notes and he thinks, hey, this is fun, and if she hasn't written any, I like it, so I'll do it. He doesn't think about it like that. If I write the notes, he will write one back and it'll be very sweet. But it isn't something that he's thinking about doing himself. And so that was something that I tried, was note writing. I thought it'd be really kind of sweet little thing to do to just bring some love and warmth and passion into the relationship. And it's cool, it's kind of nice when I do get the notes and things, but again, it doesn't really kind of get you where you think you're going to get with these notes. And I mean, in saying that, it didn't work for Nicole and Tom either. They did end up breaking up, so the notes were not the thing that were going to save their relationship. But back when I'd heard the story, Nicole and Tom were right in the throes of the beginning of the relationship and really in love, you know. So it seemed like a really sweet thing to do and a really sweet thing to try. And so I did. Anyway, that's how the notes went. If you've done anything like this, let me know. And if you're in a situation where you feel like, as the neurotypical partner, you're the one doing the majority of the work and they're not picking up the slack, feel free to comment below and have a discussion about that as well. Anyway, that's me for now, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it.